Think about where you got your news from in the last day, the last week, the last hour. Perhaps it was mainly through broadcast television. For others, maybe it came from digital news sites. For still others, perhaps the more stubborn among you, it was from newspapers. My research will be dedicated to examining the relationship between this habitual news consumption and voter learning and behavior. Regardless of whether a voter is a political news junkie or completely tuned out, they still must go through the same elemental procedure of processing information, evaluating the candidates, and transferring this into a vote. This relationship has become strained due to the development of new media that has brought both a tremendous surge in the availability of news content, but also a decline in the apparent quality of sources. In what has been referred to as the attention economy, news sources are constantly vying for viewership by providing news at the lowest cost of cognitive engagement. This takes form in a superficial coverage focused on communicating relevant information quickly and in an engaging way, yet often at the expense of detailed reporting. Communication studies scholars have traditionally referred to these sources as soft news, by which serious political issues are covered by entertainment-oriented sources. In 2016, perhaps the most important providers of political information are no longer the prestige press, but instead the Skim or BuzzFeed News. I hope to find if voters, who are now tasked with combing through this tremendously noisy media environment, are able to vote correctly. Voting correctly is a topic of study in political theory that sets a standard of voting that voters best match their own values to that of a given candidate, and still choosing candidates in a world of fully informed preferences. It accounts for differences in modes of individual decision-making, as people differ across depth, comparability, and sequence of their search for information. While some utilize a model of rational choice that requires seeking out full information, others use relatively little information and rely more on heuristics. In order to accomplish this, I will be employing a survey experiment in which I will test if voters receiving information about an election solely through soft digital media are able to channel this into voting correctly compared to those receiving traditional media. This will be applied to the behavioral decision-making framework, as those more reliant on heuristics may be more adept to using this soft digital media than those who require full information. It will also provide insights into if qualitative differences in media have different voting effects across such background characteristics as age, educational level, and political predispositions. The results of my thesis project will likely not provide any normative improvements to cure the ills that plague our democracy. However, I hope that this will allow me to develop a more holistic understanding of how the shifts in the media landscape also bring with it shifts in voters' preferences, political knowledge, engagement, and behavior.